activate Nesting Grounds, and that'll be the last turn you get. Good game? This might be what you hear when the game ends, but what's actually going on behind the scenes? Welcome back to Better Know a Combo, brought to you by the Spike Feeders and GAMEGENIC. Today's combo features two pretty new cards. The first one is from the Necron Dynasty's Warhammer 40,000 pre-constructed deck. Out of the Tombs is a 3-mana black enchantment that reads, at the beginning of your upkeep, put 2 Eon counters on Out of the Tombs. Then mill cards equal to the number of Eon counters on it. If you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, instead return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. If you can't, you lose the game. It also uses Nesting Grounds, a land from New Capenna Commander with an activated ability we'll need to make this combo work. Tap 1 and tap Nesting Grounds to move a counter from target permanent you control to another target permanent. Activate only as a sorcery. This is going to let us move those Eon counters around. And you know what else uses Eon counters? Magosi the Water Veil. Normally the way to get Eon counters on Magosi is pretty rough. You have to activate its ability by paying a blue and skipping your next turn. Here's how we can use Out of the Tombs instead. With Out of the Tombs, Nesting Grounds, and Magosi in play, I'll wait a turn for its upkeep trigger to resolve. Then activate Nesting Grounds targeting Out of the Tombs and Magosi. When this ability resolves, it'll move 1 counter onto Magosi. Then I'll tap Magosi to remove its shiny new Eon counter and return it to my hand to activate its second ability, netting me 1 extra turn. I'll then play Magosi as my land for turn. This only costs 1 colorless each turn to pull off. And I'll mill a geometrically increasing number of cards in my upkeep. If I've got a beater in play, I can close the game out with combat damage, or I can just wait 6 or 7 turns until my entire library is in my graveyard. Then I'll take advantage of Out of the Tombs replacement effect. If you would draw a card while your library is empty, instead return a card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If you can't, you lose the game. If I didn't know better, I'd say this was tailor-made for reanimating Thassa's Oracle. Yowza. This sounds awesome, but how can people interact? Let's take a look at the combo and talk about the ways you can interact at the times you receive priority. Assuming I've got Out of the Tombs with 2 Eon counters, as well as Magosi and Nesting Grounds in play, I'll activate Nesting Grounds targeting Out of the Tombs and Magosi. You can stifle this ability or remove any of the 3 pieces in play. You can also redirect the ability to put the Eon counter on something else. It works in a pinch, but it's really just kicking the can down the road a little. Next time I untap, I'll be able to try again. Next, I'll activate Magosi. By the time you get priority, I'll have removed the Eon counter and returned it to my hand. But you can still remove the Out of the Tombs or the Nesting Grounds. You can also stifle the Magosi activation. Once Magosi's ability resolves, I'll have my extra turn queued up so I can replay Magosi and can proceed to my end step, where you'll have one last opportunity to respond. At this point, you can flash in a new card from Dominaria United, Gerard's Hourglass Pendant. If this is in play when my turn is over, play will proceed in regular turn order instead of me starting my extra turn. Once my turn's over, I'm going to untap, and in my upkeep, the Out of the Tombs ability triggers to add more counters. I can only activate Nesting Grounds at sorcery speed, so you can respond in my upkeep with this trigger on the stack. If you've been sitting on interaction, you probably should have fired it off by now, but you will have an opportunity to respond at this point each time I iterate the loop. If you don't have any interaction, it's probably time to scoop them up. But what if you're not playing reactive spells like that? How can we shut them down? We talked about Gerard's Hourglass Pendant earlier because it has Flash, but this ability exists on a few other proactive pieces as well. Ugin's Nexus and Stranglehold prevent me from taking extra turns. You can also prevent things from getting counters using Solemnity, or remove them as they're generated with Hex Parasite. Finally, you can prevent my lands from untapping using Back to Basics, Sabo's Web, or even War's Toll. Because this combo has to be executed in sequence, War's Toll will tap Magosi before I can get an Eon counter on it. You can also put a stop to this with some pretty simple graveyard hate. Rest in Peace, Leyline of the Void, or Planar Void will exile those cards as I mill them with Out of the Tombs ability. This means that eventually my library will be empty, and when I try to draw a card, I will lose the game. That just about does it for this episode of Better Know a Combo. Leave a like if you haven't already, and if you have a combo you want to see explained, make sure you let me know in the comments below. We'll catch you next time.